50 more bodies exhumed from mass graves at Khan Yunis Hospital. Heavy rain triggers floods and landslide in China's Guangdong. Hello, good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. My name is Daryl Baptist and you're now watching World Today. We begin today's bulletin with some distressing news. Palestinian health workers on Sunday uncovered at least 50 bodies of people killed and buried by Israeli occupation forces at Nasser Hospital in the southern city of Khan Yunis, weeks after Israeli forces retreated from the medical complex. A spokesman for the Palestinian Civil Defense Agency said there were mass graves dug by the Israeli occupation forces at the hospital, adding that some of those killed had been tortured.
توجهنا إلى المكان، أتينا المكان بطواقمنا وقمنا بالمعدات البسيطة المتاحة لدينا بالتحري ومعرفة وجود الشهداء وأين انتقل الشهداء بشكل عام في المكان. وجدنا أن الاحتلال قام بعمل قبر جماعي. حسب البلاغات الواردة إلينا أن القبر به مئات الشهداء. يعني وردتنا إشارة ب400 شهيد، وردتنا إشارة ب300 شهيد. قمنا على مدار أيام، اليوم الثالث تقريبا، استخرجنا في الثلاث أيام ما يقارب 150 شهيد. هنالك مجهولين كثر وهنالك ناس معرفين من خلال الكتاب على أكياس الموتى.
Hospitals in Gaza have not been spared by the Israeli assault, with the military accusing Hamas of using the facilities as command centers and to hold hostages abducted since 7th October. The World Health Organization said on 6th April that the Palestinian territory's largest hospital, Al-Shifa in Gaza City, had been reduced to ashes by the Israeli siege last month, leaving an empty shell containing many bodies. Meanwhile, a baby girl was delivered from the womb of a Palestinian killed along with her husband and daughter by an Israeli attack in the Gaza city of Rafah, where 19 people died overnight in intensified strikes. The dead, killed on hits on 2 houses, included 13 children from one family. Muhammad Salama, a doctor caring for the baby, said the baby, weighing 1.4 kilograms and delivered in an emergency C-section, was stable and improving gradually. Her mother, Sabrine al-Sakani, had been 30 weeks pregnant before killed in an Israeli airstrike on Rafah. The baby was placed in an incubator in a Rafah hospital alongside another infant.
لما خرج الطفل في وضع كان ما بين المتوسط والحرج. حاليا بعد تقديم الرعاية الطبية منذ الليل لحد الآن، يعني خلال الساعات الفاتة، كان الأمر يتحسن تدريجيا. حاليا نقدر نقول إنه الوضع مستقر على المتوسط، لكن الطفل تحت الرعاية الطبية حيمكث حوالي من 3 أسابيع إلى 4 أسابيع في الحضانة، وبعد إن شاء الله نشوف قصة الخروج، وين حيخرج هذا الطفل، هل للأهل، للعم، للعمة، للخال، للجد، للجدة. هنا تكمن المأساة الكبرى. حتى لو عاش هذا الطفل ولد يتيما.
Rami al-Sheikh, brother of Sabrine, said the elder sister of the newborn baby, Malak, who was killed in the strike, had wanted to name her new sister Ruh. Over half of Gaza's 2.3 million people have crowded into Rafah, seeking shelter from Israeli offensive strike. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is threatening a large-scale ground offensive into the area despite international outcry. On a related note, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh blamed Israel for stalling a ceasefire, saying they need to agree on a complete withdrawal from Gaza. Haniyeh said this during Turkey's A News on Saturday, following a meeting with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Istanbul.
العدو الصهيوني حتى هذه اللحظة ورغم عشرات الجلسات وعشرات الأوراق المتبادلة عبر الوسطاء إلا أنه حتى هذه اللحظة لم يوافق على وقف إطلاق النار على قطاع غزة. كل ما يريده وأنه يريد استعادة أسرى ثم يستأنف الحرب على غزة، وهذا لا يمكن أن يكون. ثم هو يريد لحماس وللمقاومة أن توافق على خرائط لانتشار الجيش الإسرائيلي بحيث كأننا نشرعن احتلال القطاع أو جزء من القطاع، وهذا لا يمكن أن يتم. يجب أن يتم الانسحاب الكامل من قطاع غزة.
In the meeting, Erdogan told Haniyeh Turkey will continue its diplomatic efforts for a permanent ceasefire, as well as the establishment of an independent state of Palestine. It was the first meeting between Erdogan and a Hamas delegation headed by Haniyeh since Israel began its military offensive in the Gaza Strip. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, thanked the country's armed forces for their retaliatory attack on Israel, saying the country had demonstrated its power regardless of how many targets were hit. In its first ever direct attack on Israel, Iran sent a barrage of more than 300 missiles and drones last week in retaliation for Israel's deadly strike on its embassy compound in Damascus 1st April. Most of the missiles and drones were shot down by Israel and its allies, and the attack caused modest damage in Israel.
طرف مقابل بحث پیش بیاره که چند تا موشک زدن، چند تاش خورد، چند تاش نخورد. اینا مسائل در دست دومه. مسئله اول ظهور قدرت اراده ملت ایران و نیروهای نظامی ایران در یه عرصه مهم بین‌المللی است. این مهم، این اتفاق افتاده و اونایی که تو قضیه ضربه خوردن، اونایی که خیلی از این وضع جهانی کوکن ناراحتن، اونا از این جنبه.
Early on Friday, explosions echoed over the Iranian city of Isfahan in what sources said was an Israeli attack. Tehran played down the incident and said it had no plans for retaliation, a response that appeared gauged towards averting region-wide war. We now turn our attention to Europe, where despite gloomy weather, Ukrainians in the capital Kyiv were cheerful and cautiously optimistic on Sunday after their biggest ally, Washington, approved $61 billion in new wartime aid. The package, which the U.S. House of Representatives passed on Saturday after months of infighting, comes as Ukrainian forces face a critical shortage of munitions on the battlefield and air defenses to protect civilians. Washington is Kyiv's leading financial and military backer, delivering much of the hardware it uses on the battlefield.
Це добра новина. Буде зброя, будуть боєприпаси, будуть снаряди. У нас зараз катастрофічно не вистачає снарядів. Якраз, якщо допомога буде, то, я думаю, тоді буде все ок.
The bill passed Saturday would provide Ukraine with nearly $14 billion to train, equip and finance the needs of its army. But Kyiv would also receive $10 billion in forgivable loans for vital economic and budgetary support, including for badly damaged energy and infrastructure sectors. Experts on Sunday removed a bomb left over in a southern Serbian city from the 1999 NATO bombing of the country, prompting the evacuation of more than 1,000 residents. An Interior Ministry official, Luka Kosic, said the 1,000-kilo bomb was successfully removed from a construction site in the neighborhood of Nis. Kosic added that the bomb was transported to a safe location where it would be destroyed. Before the removal of the bomb, 1,300 residents of the area where it was found were evacuated for their safety. Police, firefighters and medical teams were present to ensure it was transported safely. According to Kosic, the Mk-84 bomb had an explosive charge of 430 kilograms. NATO's bombing of Serbia began on 24th March 1999 without the approval of the UN Security Council and lasted 78 days. It aimed to end Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic's bloody crackdown on ethnic Albanian separatists in Kosovo. One of the bloodiest incidents during the campaign struck in Nis on 7th May 1999. More than a dozen people were killed when NATO planes dropped cluster bombs on a crowded central outdoor market. The incident was later described as a blunder. The city was bombed again on 12th May that year with cluster bombs, leading to the deaths of 11 civilians. Coming up next, Ecuador polls open as voters decide on new security measures. But before that, we go to China, where heavy rain struck major rivers, waterways and reservoirs in the Guangdong province on Sunday, triggering floods and a landslide which forced the government to enact emergency response plans to protect more than 127 million people. Authorities said 11 people were missing across Guangdong by Monday morning, and nearly 54,000 people have been relocated, with 12,256 people being urgently resettled. Aerial footage released by broadcaster CCTV over Qingyuan showed villages and farmland inundated with water, as well as a landslide cutting off villages in Shaoguan. Guangdong province, a major exporter and one of China's main commercial and trading centers, has seen major downpours and strong winds for several days, in a weather pattern which has also affected other parts of China. Weather forecasters are expecting heavy rains through Monday in Guangxi region, Guangdong, Fujian and Zhejiang provinces. The authorities in Qingyuan and Shaoguan also suspended ships from traveling through several rivers, with maritime departments dispatching forces to be on duty and coordinate the emergency tugboats and emergency rescue vessels. Many hydrological stations in the province are exceeding water levels, weather officials warned, and in the provincial capital, Guangzhou, a city of 18 million, reservoirs have reached flood limits. Ecuadorians voted on Sunday for a raft of security measures in a national referendum to fight rising violence that has made international headlines. It was reported that 5 of the measures would modify the constitution if approved. The mostly security-related questions in Sunday's referendum include asking voters to approve allowing the military to patrol with police, extraditing accused criminals, and increasing prison sentences for crimes such as terrorism and murder, among other measures. Voters will also weigh whether there should be tougher gun controls in areas close to prisons, no parole for crimes like kidnapping and terrorism financing, among others, and whether the military should be able to use confiscated weapons. Not all the referendum measures, which can be approved or rejected separately, relate to security. Some of them are economic changes President Daniel Noboa wants to make, such as allowing workers to be contracted by the hour, which opponents say will benefit the rich and international companies. Polling has suggested voters are more likely than not to support Noboa, 36, in this weekend's vote, though recent power cuts may dampen support. Still within the South American region, tens of thousands of Colombians marched on Sunday to reject economic and social reforms being proposed by the leftist government of President Gustavo Petro. The reforms, which Petro says will fight deep inequality, but which opponents say will damage the country's already struggling economy, were key campaign promises for the 64-year-old leader who took office in 2022. According to the city government estimates, some 70,000 people marched in Bogota, the capital, chanting "Out with Petro," waving national flags and blowing on trumpets before gathering in the central Bolivar Square. The march comes after a Senate committee earlier this month rejected a proposed health reform aimed at stripping power from insurers and expanding access to healthcare. as the government took control of two major insurers it said had failed to correctly care for the patients. The government is expected to propose a new version of the health reform once the new legislative session begins in July. Pension and labour reforms are still being debated by lawmakers. People also took to the streets in the capital of Medellin and in Cali, near the Pacific coast. Marches have also previously taken place in support of Petro's reforms.
Coming up in sports, Yiwen wins Asian qualifier and books World Squash Championships ticket. But before that, Asian Games bronze medalist Muhammad Azim Fahmi clocked a 100-meter season best of 10.31 seconds to finish third in Heat 1 at the Tiger Track Classic in Alabama, United States. But the time was way off his national record of 10.09 seconds and the Paris Olympics qualifying mark of 10 seconds. Dream of playing in the next month's World Squash Championships in Cairo has come true. Last year, Yiwen failed to qualify for the world meet after losing to compatriot Yashmita Jadishkumar in the final of the qualifying tournament in Chicago.
The fourth seed managed to win the Asian qualifier yesterday by beating national teammate K. Savitra 11-6, 11-3, 11-3 in the Asian qualifier women's final at the National Squash Center courts. However, in the men's final, national number 2 Adine Adraki lost to Japan's top seed Ryunosuke Tsuke 11-9, 11-8, 11-3. 16 men and 16 women played in the Asian qualifier, and only the winner of each category qualified for the World Championships. World number 79, Yiwen, who stunned world number 69 and top seed Cheng Nga Ching of Hong Kong in the semi-finals, said her dream came true to play in the biggest tournament on earth, the World Championships in Cairo, especially after she trained hard and won the Hong Kong Challenge Cup in February, while also did well in tournaments in Australia. Meanwhile, Adine said he was distracted with the referee's decision in one rally which went against him. However, he said such things happen in matches, and although he gave his best, it was just not his day.
World champion and the country's top para-shuttler, Chia Liek Hao, continued his impressive performance by sweeping 2 gold medals at the 2024 International Spanish Para-Badminton Level 2 Championships in Vitoria-Gasteiz, Spain yesterday.
Liek Hao, 36, started his conquest in the championships by clinching the men's SU5 physical impairment title after defeating Fang Zhenyu from Taiwan 21-13, 21-8 in straight sets. The 2020 Tokyo Paralympics gold medalist added his second title in the championships by winning the SU5 men's doubles with partner Muhammad Fariz Anwar after defeating India's Rajkumar Chirag Barita 21-16, 21-19 in just 29 minutes. Through his Facebook, Liek Hao said the squad would be leaving for Toledo later to compete in a Level 1 championships in Spain. Liek Hao hoped that everybody in the squad would be able to produce their best once again in Toledo next week. He also thanked all his fans for their continuous support, especially the sponsors, who continue to give him the much-needed resources to compete in high-level competitions.
And now we move on to the world of football, which provided us with an abundance of action. In La Liga, Real Madrid's pursuit of a record-extending 36th title gathered momentum after Jude Bellingham scored a goal in added time to secure a 3-2 comeback win over Barcelona. Real twice fought back from a goal down before Bellingham smashed in the winner at the far post from about 6 yards out to beat the champions for a fourth successive time.
Barca took the lead in the 6th minute when Andreas Christensen headed in following a corner after Real goalkeeper Andre Lunin failed to clear the cross from his 6-yard box. Vinicius Jr. equalized 12 minutes later from the penalty spot after Lucas Vazquez was fouled inside the box. Wasteful Real dominated the second half, but missed several chances and allowed substitute Fermin Lopez to give the visitors the lead again in the 69th minute from a rebound, but Real hit back with a Lucas Vazquez volley 4 minutes later. Real kept pushing for another goal, and their perseverance paid off in added time when Vazquez raced down the right channel and crossed to Bellingham, who fired in the winner. The results left second-place Barca 11 points adrift of the leaders, with 6 games left.
Over in England, Manchester United survived one of the most astonishing FA Cup semi-final comebacks ever to beat second-tier Coventry City 4-2 on penalties after a chaotic clash ended 3-3 following extra time at Wembley Stadium last night.
United were cruising to a record 22nd FA Cup final and a repeat clash with Manchester City thanks to goals by Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes, with Coventry barely laying a glove on their opponents for 70 minutes. But Coventry were not about to go down without a fight. Goals by Ellis Sims and Callum O'Hare gave them hope, and with United rocking, Haji Wright stroked home a stoppage-time penalty after Aaron Wan-Bissaka handballed. Both sides hit the woodwork in a nerve-shredding extra 30 minutes. Coventry's 36,000 fans were sent into delirium when substitute Victor Torp poked home with almost the last kick of the game. But what would have been a deserved winner was disallowed for a slender offside after a VAR check. Casemiro missed the opening spot kick for United in the shootout, but Onana saved O'Hare's kick and Ben Sheaf fired his effort over the crossbar to leave Rasmus Højlund with the job of sending United through as he sent his effort past Coventry keeper Bradley Collins. United celebrated, but they know they came within a whisker of calamity, and it was a performance that will heap further scrutiny on manager Erik ten Hag.
Liverpool climbed level on points with Arsenal at the top of the table with a 3-1 victory over Fulham at Craven Cottage last night, thanks to goals from Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ryan Gravenberch and Diogo Jota.
Liverpool trail Arsenal on goal difference, with both on 74 points, with 5 games remaining. However, holders Manchester City, who are third on 73 points, have a game in hand. A week after Crystal Palace had dealt Liverpool's title hopes a crushing blow. With a 1-0 defeat, Sunday's victory infused Jurgen Klopp's men with renewed hope. Alexander-Arnold curled a stunning free kick into the top corner in the 32nd minute that keeper Bernd Leno had little chance of stopping. Timothy Castagne, however, drew Fulham level when he fired home just before the break with a side-footed shot past keeper Alisson. Gravenberch, a summer signing, put the Reds back on top in the 53rd minute when Harvey Elliott pounced on a loose Fulham pass across the centre of the pitch. He rolled it to Gravenberch, who curled a shot inside the far post for his first league goal. Jota sealed the win in the 72nd minute with his 100th English club career goal across all competitions with a low strike inside the far post after a pass from Cody Gakpo.
In tennis, world number 6 Casper Ruud defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas 7-5, 6-3 to win the Barcelona Open on Sunday, the biggest title of his career. The Norwegian earned revenge after his defeat by the Greek world number 7 in the Monte Carlo Masters final last weekend.
Ruud's 91-minute victory ended a 10-match winning streak for Tsitsipas. The 6th seed considered a break in the opening game, which Tsitsipas consolidated for 2-love, giving the chance of a repeat of his first set collapse in the Monte Carlo final. However, Ruud stayed calm and broke back in the 6th game with a passing shot the Greek could not control. The Norwegian brought up 2 set points at 6-5 up, clinching it with a break when Tsitsipas aired at the net. Ruud, a 3-time Grand Slam runner-up, had won 10 titles at 250 level with the 500-ranked clay court event in Barcelona, his 11th career triumph. Elsewhere, Kazakh 4th seed Elena Rybakina defeated Ukrainian Marta Kostyuk in straight sets to win the WTA event in Stuttgart. 2022 Wimbledon champion Rybakina beat Kostyuk 6-2, 6-2 in 1 hour 9 minutes, ending the 21-year-old Ukrainian's giant-killing run at the tournament. The world number 4 broke Kostyuk twice in the first set and twice in the second, fighting off 3 break points from the world number 27 to lift her 8th career title. Rybakina now holds a 2-1 record against Kostyuk. The title is her 3rd of 2024, having already won in Brisbane and Abu Dhabi, and it is the first time she has won 3 WTA titles in 1 year. Sunday's victory was also the 24-year-old's 3rd title win on clay in her career.
And last but not least, onto motorsports. Sebastian Ogier came out on top on a dramatic final day of the Croatia rally on Sunday, with the Toyota part-timer jumping from 3rd to 1st as rivals Thierry Neuville and Elfyn Evans both crashed. The win with co-driver Vincent Landaise was the 8 times world champion's 59th victory of his career and 100th podium appearance.
Hyundai's Neuville had been leading Evans by just 2.6 seconds, but went too fast into a corner and mounted a grass bank before hitting a tree on the 2nd of the day's 4 stages, losing 25 seconds. Evans then hit a bank and spun on the same stage, losing 20 seconds as teammate Ogier suddenly found himself 9.1 seconds clear with 2 stages to go. The Frenchman held on to win by 9.7 in a Toyota 1-2 with Neuville 3rd. Neuville banked 18 points from leading on Saturday night and retained his overall championship advantage, 6 points clear of Evans after 4 of 13 rounds. Hyundai's Ot Tanak was 4th, with Toyota's Takamoto Katsuta 5th and Hyundai's Andreas Mikkelsen 6th, with M Sport's Ford Gregory Munster 7th. Toyota extended their advantage over Hyundai in the manufacturer's standings to 7 points.
That concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, 50 more bodies exhumed from mass graves at Khan Yunis Hospital. Till then, I'm Daryl Baptist from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching and have a pleasant afternoon.